And welcome to the Hiredgun podcast with your host, the Hiredgun. First, like, subscribe, share. How you guys doing, y'all? So, y'all wasn't gonna get me 2 weeks in a row when I said that nothing was gonna beat a match because even though I enjoyed the Javon Evans versus Jason Waller match, didn't mean something wasn't going to beat it. Especially when you got Kenny Omega versus Swerve on Wednesday. What was yesterday? And even though this second match they had was not better than the first one, nowhere near better than the first one, it still beat the Javon Evans versus Waller. Okay, beat it. Like he beat it, like he beat it, and but match of the week is is Swerve versus Kenny Omega. Now, gotta know how I feel about Swerve. Swerve is my top 10, maybe top 5. Alright? Alright, definitely in my top 8. Definitely is my top 6. Alright? Kenny, whatever. But, but, like, I say that, right? And, and I'm like 75% sure nothing's gonna beat that. I knew nothing was gonna beat it from in that. Well, hold on. I knew nothing was gonna beat the the Waller versus Javon Evans match from NXT because truth be told, man wise, there's nothing down there that the man don't have anything down there. Pause. Like match wise to beat anything on Raw, SmackDown, or TNA, or even TNA or SmackDown. Like they don't right now. Man wise, woman wise, there's potential. There's potential is there. But I knew last night nothing was gonna beat that. Yeah, in that last night. I mean, going into Tuesday, I knew NXT wasn't going to be anything Javon Evans and Waller put on, because it's from there, you know. And don't get me wrong, if Ethan Page fought somebody, um, Ethan Page will have to fight somebody because Ethan Page is probably the best male wrestler performance wise they have down there right now. I watch NXT to see who's the next up and coming. Okay, I don't watch it because of the fact that I'm finna see great wrestling, and some of that's true, and some of that's not because I may look up and see it, and I'm going through it with this though. Trust me, because I thought about what I'm gonna talk about today. Alright, because it has to be said. But I'm like 70% sure TNA or SmackDown is not going to beat the Kenny Omega versus Swerve match. Now, let me talk about this real quick when it comes to. I'm gonna end the show with Gunther, but I'm gonna talk about this topic. Enough. So, you know, some people like Bubba Ray feels like a 5-star match don't matter. Right? Now I don't feel this way. I love 5-star matches, 4-star matches. I do, like I do. Now, me saying that, there are some people that feel like Bubba, you know, and they would say that a Gunther versus Javon Evans or a Gunther versus Dragon Lee, it's not a 5-star match to them, but not a good match to them. All right, all right, because they don't like the person who's in who's in the match. All right, but some people. But if I give you a Stone Cold versus The Rock back in the day, that was great to them, right? That was wonderful to them. Even though it had like two wrestling holds and everything else was like punches and it had like four submissions and that was it. And we called it a night. And even though it was probably like 8 minutes to like 5 minutes of a match, but that was great. Right? Right? Or, some people wouldn't see Jericho versus Eddie Guerrero as a 5-star match or a good match. Some people wouldn't see Jericho versus Shawn Michaels, or Jericho versus Chris Benoit, or Chris Benoit versus Y2J. I'm sorry. I said that. Or Chris Benoit versus Eddie. Chris Benoit versus Coach tied up, huh? Chris Benoit versus Shawn Michaels. Chris Benoit versus Kurt Angle. You know, but those matches. When I talk about certain these matches, right? They bring up Kurt because Kurt had both things. He had the entertainment wise that people love, and he had the wrestling wise. Right? So he pleased both audience because when Kurt was just the entertainment guy, don't and this is me. This is me. Alright? So because I have I'm talking about myself when I talk about certain things people like. Alright? For me, I didn't need Kurt to be entertaining. I just need Kurt to wrestle. Alright? And show me that he can wrestle. Like one of my favorite matches from Kurt is him versus Shawn Michaels. 1 and 2. Right? 1 and 2. Right? Because it put the whole wrestling knowledge in for me in perspective. Like it put the whole wrestling knowledge in me in jeopardy because in my head back in the day I would say, hey, Shawn shouldn't beat Kurt. There's no way Shawn should beat Kurt Angle. Like none. And when they decided to do this match the first time, I was like, dog, if Shawn beats Kurt, it's horseshit. Like if Shawn beats Kurt, this shouldn't happen because Shawn finishing move, and I think Shawn Michaels is the GOAT. Like the GOAT. Okay, if you tell me Shawn Michaels is the best of all time, I'm not arguing with you. I think he's Eddie, but if you tell me Shawn is the best of all time, I'm not arguing with you. Right? But Shawn Michaels' finishing move is the super kick. Right? Kurt Angle's finishing move is the ankle lock. So at no point should Shawn beat Kurt. And so I even had for another generation, right? When it was Finn, this was the NXT. When it was Finn versus Pete Dunne versus Kyle O'Reilly, right? Or when it was Finn versus Pete, right? Okay, Finn should win because Pete can't beat Kyle O'Reilly, right? That's how it went. Finn shouldn't beat because NXT the booking wise, they messed it up. Like they had Finn, they had Finn beat Kyle O'Reilly first, right? And then they had Finn versus Pete Dunne next. Now that don't make sense because Kyle O'Reilly beat Pete Dunne twice, right? So if Kyle O'Reilly can beat Pete Dunne, Finn should beat Pete Dunne, which happened. So in this case, like, when it comes to Shawn Michaels, like Shawn Michaels shouldn't beat Kurt. Now the second time when it happened, how they justified it with Kurt winning is Kurt just lost, like he just lost it. He lost he lost it because because Shawn Michaels wouldn't give up. So then that led to Shawn Michaels super kicking him because all Kurt Angle seen was red. Okay, cool. I can get over that. But going back to the topic at hand here, like some people just don't see. Some people can't get out of their own head when it comes to wrestling and what's good wrestling. Some people can't get out of their own head. It takes two people to make a match look good. Like it does. It does. Like when Gunther's in that ring, right? Which this is not even a topic. This is not even a topic. I'm gonna talk about Gunther because I'm gonna talk about Gunther. So I'm blue in the face when it comes to this. When Gunther is in the ring with the Miz, and it's a good match, right? It's not just because of the Miz. Somebody had to make somebody look good in the ring. Right? And to this day, Gunther hasn't had a bad fucking match. Alright? Or whether it's with The Miz, whether it's with Javon Evans, whether it's with Carmelo Hayes, whether it's with Dragunov, or whether it's with Jey Uso. And let me say this right now. That is probably the best matches Jey Uso's had one-on-one, right? It's probably been with Gunther. Alright? And that's saying a lot because whew, but still, Gunther hasn't had a bad match. If people can say, oh, all he does is the chokehold and some slaps and a power bomb, and that's it. Not true. Not true. All right, like Ziggler, Dolph Ziggler makes people look good in the ring, like he does. All right, but Ziggler does like if you're gonna say that about Gunther, right? You gotta say it about Ziggler too. But Ziggler only had 4 moves too, and you don't see it in the E because he sells, right? And he makes people look good in the ring, but you don't see Ziggler's offense. And I'm a fan of Ziggler, so when I say this, I'm not. There's no bias when I say this, right? You don't see how limited Ziggler is on offense until you see him fight somebody younger than him, like Ali or Carmelo Hayes, or just somebody who has a better moveset. But you don't see it because of the fact that he sells stuff so good, and you think he's doing other stuff, right? But his job is to make somebody look good. For instance, I'll bring up the Javon Evans versus Waller match on Monday. We compliment Javon Evans and how he looks in the ring, but we don't say the same thing about Javon about Waller, because of the fact that we don't see him enough, right? Like in the ring, but he made that match look good just as much as Javon Evans did, because Javon Javon Evans took a pretty decent amount of strikes in offense from Waller in that match. But we just see the glitter of the kicks and the jumpy and the bouncy shit that Javon Evans does. Right? And we don't see what Waller does. Not we. Not me. Other people. Right? Because Javon Evans won. But I didn't take that as a, oh man, Javon Evans was so good. You know, I didn't take it from that, and I'm a Javon Evans fan here. I am, I am, but I didn't take that whole match just because of Javon Evans. Like they put Javon Evans in the ring with somebody to make him look good. You know, I like they put. I mean, because the fact that majority of wrestling, like when somebody wrestles somebody, either you know who finna win or you know this match is not finna finish. Right? There's no need to protect Jason Waller in the match because he's lost tonight or he hasn't been on TV as much because of the fact that he's a jobber. His job is to make Javon Evans look good in the ring with him. I forgot who it was I seen on TV the other day in an interview, and they told like he made somebody look good in the ring, and somebody Cubs losing. Um, he made somebody look good in the ring, and somebody told him, "Hey, you need to be careful with that." And it was like, "What?" He said, "Make these people look good in the ring because if you start doing that, they they're gonna want you to do it for everybody, and then you won't get pushed like you should." And you should say that about Ziggler. You could say that about um, no, Ziggler's the prototype for that. He's that guy. Now, anywhere else, Ziggler gets pushed. He's a former TNA champion, right? New Japan gave him a belt, right? Because now that comes with being a former WWE star, right? So, because just like being a champ, they can't once you become a WWE star, Ed star or whatever, like they can't take that title from you. Like you get pushed in other indie scenes because of that title you had. Whether if you were a jobber, mid card star, like a ex WWE star has a name on it, right? And it will get you a belt. You guys, Matt Cardona that, you know. But you know, like I'm just saying, like some people feel like just because they don't like a person, it doesn't mean, or they don't see what other people see in a person, doesn't mean they can't have a 5-star match with another person in the ring. Like the AJ versus Gunther match, phenomenal. Both point, uh, pun and taking. Both matches were great. Both matches were great. Like, like, and it wasn't just because of AJ. It's my thing. So I'm just saying, like sometimes you can get lost in matches and not see the other wrestler or the other opponent did something too. You know. So let me get into Gunther. I've been talking about Gunther this whole episode, which is cool. But let me get into Gunther right quick. So this morning, the boys sent me something in the message ball, you know, which I said this weeks ago that the plan was for him to fight Ray, and then I said it on here that we got to put Ray in bubble wrap for this to happen, right? Little did I know he was already hurt. because he can sneeze and get hurt. Like people, people will always want to say, oh, it's amazing that Ray's still wrestling at what 40. I don't know. I think Ray is like 47 now, maybe. But like, hold on. Like people always want to say, "Oh, it's amazing that Ray's still wrestling." And you're like, no, no, it's not, because you can say he wrestles, but Ray had, and he's not a part timer either, right? But how he gets hurt, he's a part timer. Like Ray has gotten hurt like 4 times this year alone. Like he missed last year's Mania because he was hurt. Like he's probably gonna miss this Mania because Ray's hurt. And mind you, I hear him every Saturday now, right, on Triple A. Now I didn't know that, and I didn't know this, but it makes completely sense. It makes completely sense how Corey Graves and JBL and um what's his name? Ray can do these commentary stuff and not worry about being back at where they're supposed to be at, because they're not fucking there. They're doing the play by play um remotely, either at a hotel or home, right? But Ray's talking now. You know, I don't know how bad his ribs are. But still, like he's talking. You know, he sounds good to me. Pause. But like besides that, right? I'm gonna say this again. There should have been a plan B, or another option A, and a plan B and a plan C for Gunther. Now, what I heard today, there's still a plan for Gunther. Uh, uh, a plan for Gunther going forward. Now, I hope so, because for 3 straight weeks he hasn't been on Raw. Now, the last 2 weeks, right? Somebody has brought up Gunther versus Dragunov, all right, and I would say, I was gonna say, oh, but that means fuck Carmelo Hayes, right? Right? That would mean fuck Carmelo Hayes, in his match. But now I can't say that. I can't even bring that shit up anymore, right? Because the match I thought Carmelo Hayes was gonna have is being done. It was match of the week last week. It's the match that made me a fucking liar last week. Like the match I thought that what the match I thought that was gonna get on the card for WrestleMania happened last week. Like it guaranteed happened last week. So and that's just like the Usos versus because that ain't the only match that's happening. That's how it's gonna be a main match. You know, like because the Usos versus Logan Paul and uh what's his name? Logan Paul and Austin Theory, which is another wrestler that that just because he doesn't have that attitude era entertainment edge, people, people don't see it. Like people don't see that Austin Theory can wrestle. Now, if I if I'm gonna if I'm gonna knock uh, me for being stuck in my ways of me like a wrestler. I'm a showing up blazing. Pause. Too. Like I can see a person that can wrestle before I can see a person who entertains me. I've always been that way. This is why Jericho. This is why Eddie Guerrero. This is why Lance Storm. This is why um, Dean Malenko. Right. This is why these wrestlers I've always liked, and this is why you would never see ever hear me say I'm a Stone Cold fan. All right, or I'm an Undertaker fan. All right, or I'm a um the Rock. All right, now mind you, just because I'm not a fan of some of these wrestlers, don't mean they don't have a top 10 or a top 5 match on this list on my list because Shawn Michaels versus Undertaker, the first one and the second one were great. The the Taker versus Triple H match, the first one and the second one were great matches, and neither one of these motherfuckers are in my top 10. Not even in my top 15. Right? Right? But I can see when somebody can wrestle. I can. I can. Alright? Austin Theory, Jason Waller, they can wrestle. And they make people look good in the ring, which is why they take the pin. Because some people can't get past it. Some people can't get past of seeing that. You know? And then the first thing, oh, I don't know about that. I don't know about that because they don't see past the fact that they just like stuff in the Attitude Era, and they would say the Attitude Era is the best era. It's not. To me, it's not. But anywho, like um, yeah, the Austin Theory and Logan Paul versus the Usos, I thought was happening at Mania, but it's happening next week. The Raquel, now, this is not a bad thing for this one here. The Raquel versus Io, I thought was happening at Mania. It's not. It's not. Now, mind you, I don't think that's a. Now, if you want to push Raquel, then yes, it's supposed to be at Mania. Alright? But the bigger match and the better match is Io versus Austin. That's the main. That's a bona fide main event on any Monday or SmackDown card. Right? It's definitely a WrestleMania, like a WrestleMania match. Shit. If we didn't have The Rock, I mean not The Rock. If we didn't have CM Punk versus Roman and Cody versus Orton, I would say that shit should main event one of the nights. Like not even uh in a heartbeat I would say some shit like that. That's okay. The Oscar versus Ego is better than the Rhea versus um um Rhea versus Jade match. It is hell. I do you one better. So people don't think I'm throwing shade at Rhea or Jade, right? The Asta versus Io is better than the Liv versus Stephanie match, and I love Stephanie, right? So like I'm not being biased on this one here, but real recognize real on this situation. It's the fucking truth, you know. All right, so you already have it, and then the Dragon Out versus Tomorrow Hayes match. So I'm in the show in a minute, y'all. But like I got carried away, and It is what it is. But you know, like the EO. I mean, So the Dragunov versus Carmelo Hayes match got put on Friday. So now, two things here. You don't have an opponent for Carmelo, and you don't have an opponent for Dragunov now, and both should be on the card for WrestleMania. Now, there's already rumors that the IC title is going to be in a mostly man match, right? So, do you do the same for the United States title, or does the Miz and Melo get on the card? Is the question here. But I'm gonna end the show with that. Make sure you gotta like, subscribe, share. Make sure you gotta watch wrestling. Make sure you gotta watch EFEX. Watch the New Breed. Um, this is the High Gun Podcast. Uh, this is the High Gun Podcast. God bless, love you. I'm out.